Senator Manchin, he knew what he was doing today when he said this, right? I'm open to start with a clean sheet of paper. We'll just be starting from scratch. Were you surprised by that? Are you okay with that?
Look, as somebody who's working a lot with the transportation bill that did pass, one thing I remember is how many ups and downs there were in that process, times that we were close to a deal, back to the drawing board. And what I've noticed as I'm going around the country talking about the bridges we're going to fix and the roads we're going to build is nobody's asking me whether the version that passed was closer to 2.0 or 3.0 or how many times we started with a clean sheet of paper. People just care about the impact on them. And I think it's going to be the same with Build Back Better. Look, we know that these are good policies that the American people correctly believe are going to make them better off overall, whether we're talking about fighting inflation, lowering the cost of insulin, lowering the cost of being in the workforce by getting people child care that they can afford, getting people pre-K, child tax credit, the things we have to do for our climate, you name it. These are really important policies that are going to make Americans better off, help deal with the fact that there's a lot of upward pressure on prices right now. And for that reason, we continue to believe that they're going to pass. What form it's in, what legislative vehicle it's in, the ups and downs and twists and turns on Capitol Hill, that's going to continue to, I'm sure, be a long, drawn-out story. But at the end of the day, these are good policies that have to get done, and we're going to keep pushing for them.
So I know you attended a meeting at the White House today with President Biden's infrastructure task force. And that's the group, you're working with to implement the $1.2 trillion infrastructure package. Obviously, that is something that both Obama and Trump failed to do. Biden did do, and he's touted it as his biggest achievement thus far. But as we all know, whether it be, voting rights or Build Back Better, it's just a part of his agenda. What gives you the confidence that you're going to get Build Back Better, considering what it's been through? I mean, it's been battered. I understand your point about making sausages ugly, but this has been particularly ugly.
Yeah, and I remember how many times they said the transportation bill was dead, too. Look, you look at the last year. This is the one-year mark for this presidency.
Yeah.
And you look at where we started out. A year ago, in terms of the public health situation, less than 1% of Americans vaccinated. Now, more than 200 million Americans protected. Is the job done? Of course not. We're dealing with this variant and a lot more. But look at how far we've come. The economy in grave danger. And now unemployment below 4%. Unemployment claims lowest level since the 60s. Does that mean the job is done? Of course not. We're looking at inflation and a lot of other issues, but extraordinary progress. And the same thing with this bill. I mean, the president inherited a deeply, frighteningly divided country. It remains so in many ways, and yet this bill not only passed, it passed with bipartisan support. I was there with Democrats and Republicans who voted for it on the South Lawn of the White House with the president. That's what gives me confidence. The fact that in 1 year, this president was able to achieve things that would define the entire term of most American presidencies tells me that I don't know exactly how, I don't know what shape it'll take, I don't know what day it'll happen, but more really good achievements are coming this year.
So let me ask you one other thing, obviously, that is top of mind right now, and that is the 5G fiasco going on. Verizon and AT&T, which does own CNN's parent company, have announced a delay in launching 5G service near some airports. By the way, you got 5G in a lot of other countries, so we've been lagging on that anyway. Airlines were warning there could be dire consequences. But as you know, Secretary, the FAA has been sounding an alarm on the problem with this bandwidth and where it is on the spectrum vis-a-vis radar since at least 2015. They were saying, watch, watch, watch. Okay, that was Obama. Then comes in Trump. Federal government goes ahead anyway. They wanted the money. They sold the spectrum for $81 billion, to AT&T and the other telecom companies. Isn't this a failure of the U.S. government? I mean, why did they sell something that they weren't going to then allow to be utilized safely?
Well, I do think once we have a little more calm around the situation, we're going to look back and ask ourselves some questions about how we handle these issues. They're really unsexy and really important issues. They sound super technical, but getting them right is critically important on issues like aviation safety and for our economy as a whole. But I'll tell you right now, our focus is on making sure that we handle this with a minimum of disruption. You've got 5G beginning to be activated around the country. We got these buffer zones around the airports to make sure they're unsafe. I want to emphasize, by the way, that the FAA will not allow anything unsafe to go forward, which is exactly why we had this sense of urgency around this issue. But now I'll tell you, there is remarkable level of collaboration going on with the cell phone companies that have voluntarily agreed to delay the activation of some of these towers, with the equipment manufacturers making the altimeters, which is what the worry is, that the cell phone signals could interfere with the altimeters, with the airlines who have so much at stake in flights, making sure they don't get delayed or diverted because of directives from a safety concern. There's a remarkable collaboration going on right now to really minimize, and you look at what we avoided in terms of what could have happened with the delays and disruptions. And obviously our focus is making sure that process is a success. Then we can zoom out and ask ourselves some broader questions about how we handle these issues, because of course telecommunications is so important, advancing it is important, and they're going to continue to be these processes of making spectrum available and trying to get us that fast internet that we all want, just like we all want and need a safe aviation system for everybody.
All right, Secretary, I appreciate your time. Thank you.